Who's that? Commander Claw. Who's bad? Commander Claw. Welcome to episode 2 of Breaking Brews for Zidane, Tantalus Thief. Breaking Brews is my series where I bring you 5 cards that help you brew the commander. Zidane, Tantalus Thief, y'all know what he does by now. He is a awesome commander. He steals opponent's creatures. They become untapped. They gain haste. They gain lifelink. So you're gaining life and you're taking the most fun, most powerful creatures your opponents control from a creature that's in the command zone. But it gets even better because whenever you donate, that's right, whenever an opponent gains control of a permanent you own, you get to create a treasure token. And this can get out of hand because there's a bunch of spells that just say, pass this around pretty much. Pass this around pretty much. Target opponent gains this. You gain that. All these type of shenanigans. But guess what? These 5 cards, I know I'm a little long, so stick with me. These 5 cards are going to be more of the gameplay side of when you actually can't use Zidane. So let's begin. So if you played Zidane, maybe you're at a standstill where opponents have too many creatures on the battlefield and they're not that attractive to steal, right? Like you don't want to pay 5 mana or even blink your commander to take a somewhat good creature. Well, half these creatures do half the effect, right? Fight or flight for 3 and a white is an enchantment that says at the beginning of each opponent's combat phase, separate all creatures that player controls into 2 face-up piles. Only creatures in the pile of his or her choice may attack this turn. So this is good to prevent damage that you can possibly take. Also, kind of political at the same time. Make a deal with an opponent to attack with a certain pile or put creatures in a certain pile, right? There's so many options. Like, this is what I like about Zidane. This is kind of a gameplay politics commander. We can give you all the cards to steal opponents' creatures, but your opponents aren't dumb all the time, right? They're not going to put out the best creatures for you just to steal, and they're going to try to remove your commander. So you need effects in the game to balance out these down moments or these cat and mouse games that you and your opponents are trying to play. Now, let's say the board is filled with some crazy stuff on it, right? Well, let's say you just don't want to really remove their creatures, but you got an option to, and you just wanted a bonus type of effect. Well, let me bring you to Alorian Searing Light for 2 and boros. It is, sorry, it's an instant. It says, each opponent exiles a creature with the greatest power among creatures that player controls. All right, so we're getting rid of their best creature, most powerful creature, right? Then it has Spell Mastery. If there are 2 or more instant or sorcery cards in your graveyard, Olorian Searing Light deals damage to each opponent equal to the power of the creature they exiled. So, yeah, let's say, your opponents all have 8 creatures on the battlefield, each one of them, right? You forcefully exile those creatures, and you got 2 instants or sorcery spells in your graveyard. Those opponents are taking 8 damage. That's a nice way to deal damage and creature removal. So, great card to have when you don't necessarily want to steal an opponent's creature, but you want to put them away. And this is somewhat even better than a giant burn spell like a fireball, right? Because you're not investing all of your mana. It's only 4 CMC and it's an instant. I keep being pleasantly surprised by Lord of the Rings. It has so many good cards. And this is another one. Riders of the Mark for 6 in a red. 7/4 Human Knight. It says this spell costs 1 less to cast for each human you control. So Dane is a human. Anyways, Trample and Haste. A 7/4 with Trample and Haste. Then it says at the beginning of your end step, if Riders of the Mark attack this turn, return it to its owner's hand. If you do, create a number of 1/1 white human soldier creature tokens equal to its toughness. So, first time you play it, 7/4 body, hits the battlefield, trample haste. If it survives, it goes to your end step, and you put in 4 humans on the battlefield. Now, what can you do with these 4 humans? You can do a lot. You can donate them with some kind of ability. They could be chump blockers, or they can go to attack and build your army. And as you finish off your opponents, because maybe you built your deck with Zidane not only to take creatures, but to have a wide board state, this is the card for you. 7/4 that gets cheaper to cast every time you bounce it back to your hand because of the number of humans you control. So, 5 humans on the battlefield, This card will only cost 2 mana to cast a 7/4 with Trample Haste. Now, I like to put spells in my deck that just do other stuff, right? Other stuff that can just change the game. They're not necessarily game changers, but Plargg and Nassari here for 3 and 2 red, a 5/4 body, legendary or E-free is gonna cause your opponents to make some ugly stank faces. We like them making stank faces, right? So when I read this card, you can probably gonna make the same stank face. Let's talk about them. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. An opponent chooses a non-land card exiled this way. You may cast up to 2 spells from among the other cards exiled to say, without paying their mana cost. Are you kidding me? So the reason why I recommend this, because Zidane, you're not always going to be able to steal opponents' creatures, right? You're not always going to be able to donate and create treasure tokens. Put Plargg and Nassari on the battlefield, steal opponents' non-land cards that's in their library. You get to cast them for free, 2 spells for free. You can change the game in your favor. Who knows what those cards are, but this is a chaos card. Zidane can work well with that. Hey, let me know what you think about this card. I like it. Now, when I found this card and saw this artwork, I was like, "What in the world? This artwork is old. It's old magic, old magic." Well, anyway, we have Witch Hunter for 2 and 2 white, 1/1 body. It's actually a human cleric. Says Tapper. Witch Hunter deals 1 damage to target player. The reason why I think that's good too, because if you have a damage multiplier in your Zidane deck, this 1 damage could be 2, or it could be 3. Just saying. Anyways, tap 1 and 2 white. Tap it. Return target creature an opponent controls to its owner's hand. So if you have been stealing opponent's creatures, right? Instead of just putting it back into their, just giving control back to them and having the creature go back to the battlefield, bounce it, right? Have a creature to bounce it and put it back into their hand, so they have to recast it. Nasty, nasty. And guess what? You could be donating a creature anyway and take it back with the Witch Hunter. It goes back to owner's hand if an opponent controls it. And if you happen to be the owner, what do you know? There's a bunch of shenanigans you can do with this card. Witch Hunter, I'm not sure if it's on the reserve list. It's an old card. I know it's got to be budget friendly. Let me know what you think about this card. So thank you for watching this second video on Zidane Tantalus Thief. I think it's a really cool commander from Final Fantasy. Being able to steal your opponent's creatures, give it haste and lifelink, that is abusive. That is crazy powerful, right? That's life gain on a deck already. Then you're mana ramping when you donate permanents you control to your opponents. You're going to have fun with this commander. But also, I feel like this deck can be just fun in general, casual fun, and just change the game and change your meta within your pod, causing your opponents to do things they're not going to like, or they're just going to have to play different, or learn to have more removal and assess threats. But sometimes, like they may not want to play your Zidane Tantalus Thief type of game. So let me know what you think about this whole episode 2 of this. Otherwise, thank you for watching. I'm your host, Commander Clo.